Hello children, today we are going to start with History chapter 2, that is New Kings and Kingdoms. When we talk about new kings and kingdoms, it means that how new kingdoms evolved in our country. Almost after 7th century, after the death of Harsha or during the post-Gupta Empire, new dynasties emerged in our country. And these dynasties basically emerged when the warrior chiefs or samantas, they overtook the power. Basically, these samantas were subordinate to kings. Their duty was to collect the taxes and they rule over a particular area. These samantas even provide military help to the kings. When these samantas gained power and wealth, they declared themselves as Mahasamantas, Mahamandaleshwaras, and even at times as independent rulers. Example of this type of rule is of Rashtrakutas in Deccan. Rashtrakutas were initially the subordinates to Chalukyas and later on they declared themselves as independent rulers. So in this manner, different dynasties emerged in northwest and Deccan part of India. These three dynasties which emerged after the post-Gupta period were of Gurjara Pratiharas, Palas and Rashtrakutas. So first of all we are going to study about Gurjara Pratihara dynasty. Gurjara Pratihara dynasty was started by Nagabhatta Ban in AD 725 in the parts of Gujarat and Rajasthan. Nagabhatta I defeated the Arab Muslims and he became the king and overtook the rule. Bhoja I was one of the important ruler of this dynasty. He extended his dynasty from Gujarat to Bengal and from Kashmir to Narmada. As he was a devotee of Lord Vishnu, adopted the title of Adivaraha. The capital of Gurjara Pratihara dynasty was Kannauj. The last ruler of Pratihara dynasty was Rajpala, who was defeated by Mahmud of Gauri in 1018 AD. And with that, the Gurjara Pratihara dynasty came to an end. The rulers of Gurjara Pratihara dynasty were great patrons of art and architecture. They have built many beautiful buildings and temples in Kannauj. Next dynasty was Pala dynasty. Pala dynasty ruled in eastern part of India. This dynasty was founded by Gopala. Gopala was elected by the nobles as a king when the earlier king died without any reason. As he was not having any successor, the nobles elected Gopala as their king. The main important rulers of this dynasties were Dharampala and Devpala. Palas were great patrons of learning and religion. Dharampala founded a monastery at Vikramshila. Vikramshila University was the second famous university in our country after Nalanda University. Palas ruled for about 4 centuries around the parts of Assam, Bengal, Orissa and Bihar. Next dynasty was Rashtrakuta dynasty. Rashtrakuta dynasty was basically started by Danti Durga in AD 753. He was basically a chief under Chalukyas who declared himself as independent. Rashtrakutas basically ruled in Deccan region. Danti Durga performed a religious ritual called Hiranyagarbha or the golden womb to become a Kshatriya king. Danti Durga was also known as Danti Varman and his capital was at Malkhed. In AD 973, Rashtrakutas were again overthrown by Chalukyas. Rashtrakutas were even the great patrons of religion and learning. They propagated all the religions like Jainism, Buddhism, Saivism, etc. And even in the field of learning, they gave equal importance to Sanskrit, Prakrit and Kannada language. Rashtrakutas were even patrons of art and architecture too. And the example of that was Kailashnath temple at Ellora. So this was about all these three dynasties which ruled in North India, Eastern India and Deccan part of India. Next we are going to study about tripartite struggle. The word tripartite basically means three-party struggle. All these three dynasties, they were in continuous struggle with each other. That's why this struggle is known as tripartite struggle, because it included Gurjara Pratihara, Palas and Rashtrakuta dynasties. These three parties continuously fought for control over Kannauj. As Kannauj was a very important place as per its location, because it is said that whosoever conquers Kannauj will have a control over Ganga Valley. As these three parties were almost equal in strength, so it was very difficult for any one party to hold control over others. And in this manner, these dynasties became very weak, which gave the way to other dynasties to emerge. So most of the dynasties that emerged after them were belonging to Rajputs. Now we'll be studying about Rajput dynasties. Rajput were the name given to the people, those who belonged to a warrior class. Rajputs were basically known for their honor and prestige in the Indian history. So some of the Rajput dynasties that emerged were Garhwals, Parmaras, Chauhans, Chalukyas, etc. So among these Rajput dynasties, we are going to study about Chauhans, which are also known as Chahmanas. The Chauhan dynasty was founded by Govkut in 11th century AD, and they ruled over the parts of Delhi and Ajmer. Prithviraj III was one of the important ruler of this dynasty. He extended his empire to a large area, and the details of his conquest are mentioned by his court poet in a book known as Prithviraj Raso. Prithviraj Raso was written by Chand Bardai. Prithviraj defeated an Afghan ruler Muhammad Ghori in first battle of Tarain. But in second battle of Tarain he lost, and this led to an Islamic rule in India. As these Rajput rulers were not united with each other, they were even continuously fighting among each other to extend their control. So in this manner, neither they were united and nor they were able to fight against this Turkish invasions. So in this manner, Muhammad Ghori, he came to power and started a Islamic rule in our country. Next we are going to study about the Turkish invasions. So the first invader who attacked our country was Mahmud of Ghazni. Mahmud of Ghazni came from Afghanistan. He ruled almost for 3 decades in our country, and he extended his control in Iran and to the northwestern parts of Indian subcontinent. He attacked Indian subcontinent for 17 times in order to build a big army and to conquer the wealth of India. As he has heard that the Indian temples consist of gold and jewelry, so whenever he attacked, he mostly raided on Indian temples and he took away all the gold, jewelry and wealth of Indian temples. Mahmud of Ghazni was also known as idol breaker because he used to break the images of Hindu gods and goddesses and he used to destroy the temples. So because of this, even he got some religious merit. Many of his campaigns were at Nagarkot, Mathura and Kannauj. And one of his disastrous campaign was at Somnath in Gujarat. He died in AD 130 and the people of North India were relaxed. Al-Baruni, a Persian scholar, he accompanied Mahmud of Ghazni during his campaigns. As Mahmud was interested in knowing about India, that's why he brought that scholar with him. Al-Baruni lived in India for so many years and he wrote a book on India named Kitabul Hind. In that book, he has described about India and the life of people in Indian subcontinent. Next Afghan invader or Turkish invader was Muhammad Ghori. The full name of Muhammad Ghori was Sihabuddin Muhammad Ghori. He was a small ruler in Afghanistan. His main aim to invade India was to establish Islam rule in India. When he came to India, his main rival was Prithviraj Chauhan. In AD 1191, Prithviraj Chauhan defeated Muhammad Ghori and Muhammad Ghori has to leave the battlefield. But again in 1192 AD, he again fought a war with Prithviraj Chauhan, and that was the second battle of Terrain. At that time he defeated Prithviraj Chauhan and Prithviraj Chauhan was captured and later on murdered. So in this manner, it led to a Turkish rule in our country and even the spread of Islamic rule in our country. Muhammad Ghori died in AD 1206 and after him his general Qutbuddin Aibak, he overtook his kingdom. Now we are going to study about administration during that rule. When we talk about administration or the type of rule, the kings were having the supreme power and they usually took the title of Maharaja Dhiraj and Tribhuvan Chakravartin. The kings even shared their wealth with the Samantas and with the association of peasants and Brahmins. High posts in the army were filled either by the relatives of the king or by the people, those who are having an important position in the kingdom. And these posts were hereditary. Means after a person, his or her son will occupy that post again. So in this manner, administration goes on during those time periods. Next we are going to study about the system of revenue collection or the collection of taxes. Peasants or traders, they have to pay a part of their produce as tax. Even the traders also have to pay the taxes. At times, a part of produce was given in the form of rent, as the land even belongs to the king. Even broad-based revenues were also collected, which were related with overseas trade. And the duty of collection of this revenue was given to the people, those who were either close relatives of the king or hold an important position in the kingdoms. Next we'll be discussing about uses of revenue. The tax which was collected from the people was used in various ways. That money collected was used to construct temples, to finance the infrastructure of king and to fight wars. Generally the king believed that if they will fight wars, it will provide them with wealth as well as with the land. So in this manner, their empire will expand in all the manner. Next is Prashastis. Prashastis are basically the writings which are in praise of king. Mostly the court poets, they used to write the books or poems praising the kings. Prashastis basically consist of the king's victories and achievements. Prashastis were either written by court poets or by the learned Brahmins. In comparison to Prashastis, critical writings were also there. One of the famous writer Kalhana, he was famous for his critical writings. He has written a book criticizing the kings of Kashmir, and for that he has taken the sources from various inscriptions, manuscripts, documents, eyewitnesses, etc. In his writings, Kalhana basically used to write about the negative aspects of the rule of the king and about their actions. As we have discussed about revenue collection, the revenue was collected from the traders, peasants, artisans, and on the other hand, Brahmins, they have got special position in the kingdom. Brahmins were even getting importance from the kings, and the kings used to give them grants of land and donate them a lot of money. So the grant which was given to the Brahmins were recorded on a copper plate, and that copper plate was awarded to that particular Brahmin who has received the land grant. And that Brahmin was having the right to collect the taxes from that land. So in this manner, the position of Brahmins in the kingdoms consistently went on improving. And the Brahmins, as they were educated and they were having the knowledge of religious texts, so they hold a very important position and the power to create their own caste rules in the kingdom. So in this manner, this led to the emergence and the end of different dynasties in Indian subcontinent. So this was all about the chapter. Before winding up the class, let us discuss about some important dates mentioned in the chapter. The Gurjara Pratihara dynasty continued from AD 725 to 1018. The Rashtrakutas ruled from AD 753 to AD 973. Muhammad Ghori launched his first campaign to attack India in AD 1175. First Battle of Terrain occurred in AD 1191. Second Battle of Terrain was held in AD 1192. Mahmud of Ghazni attacked India 17 times between AD 1000 to AD 1027. Tripartite struggle was the struggle between the dynasties of Gurjara Pratiharas, Palas and Rashtrakutas over the control of Kannauj. So this was all about the chapter. With this we are going to wind up today's class. Good day for now. Stay home. Stay safe.